All right, we're back on another edition of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show. Jonathon and Travis Cunningham coming at you for episode 19? 19.
19.
All right, who's the 19 that comes to mind when I think about, or when you think about Southern Ontario and the dirt community?
There's a few, but for me, because he parks a few down, Alan Downey.
Ooh, that's a good one. Nice pick. I'm just gonna go.
Mhm.
Shout out to Trevor Want in the street stocks, number 19. Uh, Shout out to
That
Trevor.
was one.
There's one.
Kyle Wirt,
Kyle Wirt.
Ohsweken. I think he runs Merrittville sometimes.
Sometimes.
Those were the three I thought of.
Um,
Corey Turner used to be 19. Like, if that would be his number. Like, he was always
yep.
19 in street stops and then his reverse sprint. Charlie Lynch used to be 19, but I think he hasn't run for a couple of years.
Matthew Bardier, who's been participating on the Pinty's tour, so he's
Yes,
a little bit outside of Southern Ontario with his origins, but still, shout him out.
But he's been running around here, so
Yeah, exactly.
counts.
Appreciate you coming down, right? All right, let's have a look at. Let's get into Ohsweken first. We also got some fan mail that I'll end off before we go to our interview with. But that came through on the email today, so that was a nice little thing to see. Cool Kids Core Pack 360 Sprints won by none other than Liam Martin in the 9 over Josh Hansen, Nick Sheridan, last week's guest, Mitch Brown, and Dylan Westbrook, your top 5 there. Talk to us about that one.
Yeah, got to watch that one because my car wasn't handling that great, so I just did the old start and park and made my $250. So I got to watch the whole thing. And Josh led up to lap 17. I think him and Mitch Brown were battling, and like Josh was kind of running in the middle, and it looked like he was rolling good at the start, but then you could see him start to get a little looser, and then Mitch Brown almost got him on the bottom. But then top came in, and here comes Liam Martin and Nick Sheridan, and Liam was able to get around all of them and pick up the win in the last 3 laps there. Nicky was able to get to third. And then, top 3 crate graduates, all Southern Ontario Dirt Show guests, and an average age of like 19 was the podium at the Ohsweken Speedway on Friday. Proud of all of them.
Future is bright in the 360 sprints at Ohsweken. That's awesome to see. I was just looking over the results, and I was like feeling good about we've had everybody in the top 5 on except for Mitch Brown. And then even if you want to extend it out to the 6, we've had Ryan Turner on the show too. So it pays to be a guest of this show, I guess. I don't know what else to say.
Yep. We know who's fast.
And also headlining the night was the 20th running of the Art Hill Memorial 42. What we got here? Tyler LaFontaine winning another one right there. Should that really be? Or sorry, Jeremy Hughes, I should say, over Tyler LaFontaine, your winner there.
Yeah, Jeremy's been knocking on the door all year, and what a good one to do. Pick up the win, and I think I might have won another one, but like I've been saying last few weeks, he's definitely a veteran in those cars, knows them real good, and picks home the 2 Gs, brings it home.
Yeah, they had a good little battle at Merrittville. We'll get to that a little later on. But Hughes wins it over LaFontaine, Oliveri, Erskine, and Eric York rounding out the top 5 in that one. Looking over at the dirt late models, Andrew Hennessy wins it in the 87 over Charlie Sandercock, Greg Haskell, Andrew Rium, and Jim Dale Jr.
Yep. Didn't see any of that one because I was waiting to go out, but Hennessy, no surprise there. Team 57, TEEM. Yeah. I think Sandercock won the last time they were there, and teammate wins this time.
Mm-hmm. And the first of a double down weekend in the Thunder Stocks, Street Stocks, Hoosier Stocks. It was Dave Bailey, our guest on this week's show. He wins it on Friday night in the Middleport Mechanical Thunder Stocks over Trevor DeBoer, Ryan Beagle, Ron Logie, and Kyle Wirt.
Yep, Bailey picks up another win. Shocker there. The one thing I wanted to say about the late model race is that one wasn't all crates. It was like an open late model challenge, and a crate did pick up the win. I think Rob Pitts did that back in the day too. So that was pretty cool. There was like 30 late models there. That was awesome. So yeah. And then back to street stocks, Bailey. No surprise there. And he's our guest later, and we got 22 minutes with him. Lots of good stuff.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good to talk with him. He's an awesome interview. Somebody I got to know over the Ohsweken, the last Sprint Car Nationals weekend. It was good to talk to him and talk to him about the run in the Pinty series. And like I said, he picked up another win on Saturday as well. We'll get to Merrittville in a second, but first we got to talk about the points situation. We said we were going to get into Ohsweken's points um, going into what is going to be. What do you guys got? Is it one or two left? I forget
Just
because
for the
there's one class. Isn't
sprints.
there a couple classes?
Yeah, sprints
Right? Yeah,
is
just the sprints are done
yeah,
this weekend.
and then one more for everyone else.
Got it. So we'll start with the sprints then in that case. So the Cool Kids Core Pack sprints. This is how it's looking right now. Corey Turner out in front. He has a 33-point advantage on Liam Martin. Ryan Turner sits third in points, Mitch Brown fourth, and our buddy Nick Sheridan rounding out the top five in it.
Yeah, so 33 points. That's Corey should be able to do it if he doesn't, as long as he finishes top 10, probably. That's a decent gap he's got
Yeah,
there.
I don't have it in front of me, and I actually haven't looked at it because I don't call
Theirs
races
is
there, but I
different than
should.
Merrittville. I think it's 100
Right?
for first, but it's the same thing where like seconds 5 and then 3, but then 2. So
Okay, slides back, it's sliding scale like that too. I was wondering
it's
about
the
that
same
because I was
sliding
like,
scale,
yeah,
but the point values are higher.
fair enough. That
Yeah.
makes sense. So Corey Turner with a pretty good advantage then over Liam Martin, but it's been a great season for Liam. 3 wins, 7 top fives, 9 top tens in the 12 features that he has run. Um, Ryan Turner, another one that he's actually run one less feature than everybody else in the top 5, and he's still up there in third in points. Corey Turner looks like he's going to get it done though, so we'll see. One more weekend to wrap that one up. Looking ahead at looking back at the crate sprints, the Strickland's GM 602 crate sprints. Lucas Smith leading the points there over Eric Gledhill, Jesse Costa, Brett Stratford, and Darren Dryden. 30-point gap between Lucas Smith and Eric Gledhill. So again, looking like Lucas Smith and the 49L is going to wrap up the championship there.
Yeah, so Dryden, he must have had a couple. I know, yeah, he did have a couple bad nights. I think one night he had motor troubles for sure. So the guy with most wins down there in fifth. And I think Lucas Smith has, how
Yeah,
many wins
well,
does Smith have? I think Gledhill has one.
Smith's got 2.
Yeah.
Smith's got 2 wins. Dryden's got 4, but he's also run one less feature, and he had that flip, right? But I can't remember. Was the flip in the
No, that was
feature
in the
or was
feature. Yeah,
that
I saw that.
in a heat?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
right. So I feel like there was one other incident he may have had. It might have been a motor, like you say, in maybe early in the heats or something that cost him one of those starts. But
yeah.
again, you give him the points for that, he'd be right up in there. So
Yeah, Darren Dryden, Ryan Turner, same thing happened to them. They had motor trouble, couldn't get out for the B main, didn't transfer. So then they didn't get that 1A main start. And Turner's was at the Nationals on that Monday. And yeah, Dryden's was real
yes,
early in the year. I think after he swept the 2 opening nights and then the third night or something like that. So one bad night is what'll do it. If it wasn't for that, they'd both be much closer.
yeah, it's a tight little battle here from second through fourth. Like looking at Eric Ledhill in second, he's up 7 points on Jesse Costa, and then it's another mm, 20, 22 points back to Brett Stratford. So Brett's got a little bit of ground to make up if he wants to mix it up with there, but still a pretty good little points battle there, and I'm pretty you got to be pretty happy with. I think all the points battles still being at least somewhat close going into the final week for the sprints.
Yeah, definitely not over. 33 points is
Mm-hmm.
doable. One bad night.
One that's a little less doable, although again, multiple races still. Dave Bailey leading the points over Ryan Beagle in the Middleport Mechanical Thunder Stocks. It's Bailey, Beagle, Christopher Hale, Trevor DeBoer, and Kyle Wirt. Your top 5 in points there.
Yep, Bailey and Beagle definitely been the show there this year. Uh, so much awesome racing between those two and finishes by a fender. And yeah, but Dave definitely got a lot more wins than Ryan. So he's definitely got a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of an edge on him. And who's the rest of the top 5?
Yeah, 7 wins for Bailey. 7 wins for Bailey, 2 for Beagle, and then it's Christopher Hale, Trevor DeBoer, and Kyle Wirt. Kyle Wirt's the only other one who's got a feature win in the top 5 in points.
Yeah, so those guys have all had quieter good seasons as well. A lot more just top 5
Mm-hmm.
finishes and stuff. But
Yeah,
finishing the top 5 every week is hard to do as well.
exactly. especially in the Thunder stocks. The street stock, that whole division has been tough no matter which place you go to. Bailey, 44 points up on Beagle. So again, not necessarily over, I don't think, according to how your points would shake out, but that's pretty much a done deal for Bailey there.
Yep, just as long as he gets in that top 10 next 2 nights, should be good to go. But yeah, just needs to cross his fingers. And you never, I don't want to say you never see
Hmm.
anything break on his car, but it's pretty rare.
Yeah. Well, if Bailey is not a surefire, surefire winner for the points title at Ohsweken, Tyler Lafontaine, I'm going to say is because he's got a 133 point advantage on Fabio Oliveri for second in that point standings in the HRW automotive mini stocks.
Yep, I think that'll do it because I'm pretty sure it's 100. I'm trying to scroll here and find the point system so we can know for sure. Rules of competition. Uh, yeah, but 100, I'm pretty sure we'll do it because I'm thinking the most it would be is 100 points for the win. So,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
So that's pretty big. So it's Lafonzi, Oliveri, Erskine, DeBoer, and Dusty DeBoer, and then Tim DeBoer. Just to clarify that, we got two DeBoers in the top five there. Um, and again, Fabio Oliveri's got one win. Eric York, who sits in sixth, has a win. Jeremy Hughes is up to eighth in points with a win. But everything else has gone to Tyler Lafonzi. Top tens, run 10 features, 10 top tens, 10 top fives, and six wins. So Lafonzi has now finished outside the top five all year long, and that's why he's amassed such a massive point advantage.
Yep, it's definitely been the Tyler LaFontaine show here in the Niagara region in the mini stocks this year. Not to uh, say other people didn't get wins as well, but for the most part, old Tyler LaFontaine's been up there. If not, it's been Kyle Rothwell, Clinton Barrick, and
Mm-hmm.
some those guys you mentioned there. The one guy I don't even know, Eric York. I don't really know that guy very well. He must be newer.
Yeah, he's up there though.
Yeah, he's
He's
got the win.
currently, like I said, yeah, he's got the win, and he's currently sitting in sixth, and he's only got 17 points if I'm reading that correctly to go back to get up to fifth place, Tim DeBoer. So you could like see him break through for one here. Um, Jeremy Hughes, you kind of wonder what would his season be like. He missed one of the features in that 10J and is still sitting eighth in points, so he could be a lot higher up for sure as well. Turning our attention to Merrittville Speedway, Saturday night's action. I was just rewatching it back on GeForce. I got a TV again, so I can watch some racing. I mean, I guess I could have watched it on my laptop, but it's a lot better on a big TV. I gotta say. Um, another great performance from Matt Williamson. Um, we've talked about the fact that he's not going to be winning the points title because he's going to miss next Saturday. So I tried to really make sure he got his dues in victory lane because it really has been another spectacular season for the S&W Service Center number 6 of Matt Williamson at Maryville.
Yep, no doubt about it. I think he's missed 2 races already, maybe one for sure. I think two, and he's still battling for the ship. So that says it right there.
Yeah, it's been an impressive year for those guys. Impressive drive on Saturday night. I don't know if you had a chance to go back and watch any of the racing action yet, but he made a
I did.
move. I believe it was for second, where he took them three wide through 3 and 4. Susie was down low, and then there was one other driver in the middle who can't remember who, it's escaping me now. But Williamson just put the power down, drove right around them. It was really, really impressive stuff. And yeah, I say what you want about the guy, but I love watching him run. I mean, I get it. A lot of people get upset with guys who win races all the time, but when you got somebody as good as Matt is driving at your local track, it's hard not to at least take it in and be impressed by it, right?
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I love watching him win, seeing him come up from the go kart ranks like we talked about on his episode of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show. So I'm a fan of all drivers around here and definitely a fan of Matt Williamson. But yeah, people liked him a lot better back in the sportsman days. I don't want to say that, but like lots of people are fans of him too. But yeah, I
It's
definitely
the
love him.
Jimmy Johnson effect, right? Or Jeff Gordon effect. Anybody?
Yeah, like my one crew guy
Yeah,
loved him in the sportsman, and then now Williamson again. I'm like, no
yeah.
shit, Williamson again.
Obviously,
Like we got
exactly.
his stuff together.
He's a good
Yeah,
driver. Got a
yeah,
good team. Got
that's
a
where I
good
was going
car.
with
He's
that.
gonna win. that's what happens. I get people don't want to see the same winner over and over again, but sometimes you got to appreciate greatness while you still can. And I'm appreciating a great points battle because as much as we've given Matt his flowers here, between Susie, Lindbergh, and Bicknell, they are putting on. They're setting up one great show to end this year. Susie, Lindbergh, and Bicknell could not get away from each other. Pete had to kind of work his way up into that fourth spot, but Susie brings it home second. Lindbergh ends up third. Bicknell is fourth, and shout out Dave Flanagan Jr. hanging on to a top five spot as well after starting second. That's your top five in the 358 modifieds. But Susie, Lindbergh, Bicknell in second through fourth, those are your three contenders for the points title, and look at them showing up when it mattered at the end.
What's Matt's lead on him?
We'll go to that right now. So it's 3 points. Williamson is up 3 points on Susie. So
Yeah.
he's
So, yeah.
done, right? So he's going to
He's
drop
done.
back to he'll drop back to fourth in the standings because Freddie Carlton is 160 behind Williamson. So he's not going to catch him,
Yeah.
especially if he's running the experimental motor again this week, which I'm not 100% sure if he is or not yet. But so, assuming that means that Susie will have a 10-point lead on Lindbergh heading into this final race, and it'll be a 22-point lead over Pete. So Pete's going to need some help if he wants to win it. Not only just from Susie having a bad night, but even to Lindbergh, it's a 12-point difference. So he'll need a little bit of help over that as well. So probably going to come down to Susie and Lindbergh. But man, what a great show this final 358 modified feature could be.
Yep, definitely could be awesome. Step one for Pete would definitely be win the race because all
Mm-hmm.
mathematical stuff usually starts with if you win. So step one for the 42 is win. He's done that twice already this year.
Mm-hmm.
Needs number 3 this week to stay alive, really, to have like
Yep.
realistically. But then, yeah, Ryan Susie's no stranger to points championships. He doesn't have one at Merrittville, but 3 times in a row, I believe he won one at Ransomville. And I believe he's one of the only people over there to win a street stock sportsman and 358 championship. So, yeah, no stranger to championships for Mr. Susie.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he'll be able to get it done, barring anything crazy. But you never know what could happen here. Um, and Pete's gonna need, like I said, Pete's gonna need to win it again. The system it's interesting, right? Because it's what I think it ends up being a 10-point gap between first and fourth. So you could make a case where if Pete wins, Lindbergh ends up fourth. It's a tie between those two, and Susie has a bad night. Maybe you never know, but
Oh, it's definitely doable.
I don't know. I don't know how it's going to shake out, but
I've
I'm
se-
very excited.
I've seen some crazy stuff happen on Final Points nights in my life. So it's just race cars seem more durable these days.
Hmm.
Back, I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
that's a big part of it, right? It's like
that's a
next to
lot of it.
nothing for these guys to get through 35 laps with as long as there's no contact, right? And even with a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
contact, you can get through it. So that's going to be a good final night. We had the actual sprint tour in for the sportsman. Sportsman had the weekend off, so we brought in the action sprint tour presented by Pinty's, which Jacob Dykstra won. Again, I don't know if you had a chance to watch this one, Travis, but the opening the opening lap to lap and a half move that Dykstra pulled off is one of the more impressive things that I've seen in a crate sprint in my brief time in covering racing. Like he slid up at the outside from fourth place, got past the third place guy in turn 1 and 2. Leaders were the front row was still side by side. He was already looking to the outside, coming down the back straightaway, and just absolutely. I swear he never lifted. Like I'm sure he didn't, but like that 5D just the way it sailed around the outside perfectly, took the lead coming down the front stretch on one lap. It was impressive.
That's what you got to do. It's especially in those cars with the engines being so equal. When they're bunched up like that, that's when you got to pounce. And Jake has been running the 360, so and he's no like he almost swept the series last year, so no stranger to getting to the front. Saw his opportunity, made it, and Matt did the same thing. Like he got to the front really quick, and that's what you got to do these days when race cars are so equal and so durable. Like I'm saying, they definitely don't fall out as much as you would have seen back in the day with mechanical issues. So definitely got to get to the front when they're all bunched up, and that's what causes wrecks sometimes too. But that's also when you got to get them because they're all right there.
Yeah. Mike Bowman brings it home second, Brett Stratford third, Matthew Bartier fourth, and Darren Dryden rounds out the top five there. Give a call to Mike Bowman. He tried valiantly. Like Dykstra got out there to a pretty good advantage, and I think it was up to, I want to say it was maybe up to 6 seconds or at least over 4 seconds. And then in lap traffic, Bowman caught him down to, I think it was under 2 seconds when it was all said and done. And then Dykstra got clear of some lap traffic, drove back off. But Bowman really put up a valiant effort. And he's having one heck of a season in his first like full time effort in the crate sprints.
Yep, definitely. Mikey's got that thing figured out as well. He's been winning most of the action races recently, and then Dykstra got him back here at Merrittville. But the rest of the top five were heavy hitters as well. With Bardier,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't get. Oh no, he did get one at Brockville, and then Stratford hasn't got one yet. But he's been second,
Yep.
third, multiple times. Hasn't been out of the top five much at any track. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, fifth, Dryden, 4 wins at the res. Does he have one on the sprint
Mm-hmm.
tour? I can't remember.
I don't remember. I
I
feel
feel
like he
like he does
does,
too.
but I have to pull up the Pinty's
Yeah.
website to actually move that
Anyway,
up and check that. I'm going to check that now, but while we do that,
yeah.
Hoosier Stocks, Dave Bailey gets it done. It was interesting. So I brought this up. We're going to talk to Dave a little bit later in the show, and when we talked to him, I talked to him about he is always maybe the most positive driver when it comes to getting out of the race car. Like there are some drivers where they talk about the racetrack and the track was difficult or it was always hard to pass, whatever, right? But Bailey's usually the first guy to say, "Yep, track was great. Merrittville set up a great track, whatever." Um, and this was the first time I think I ever heard him really get out and be like, "Yeah, it was a tricky track."
Yeah, he gets into it a little more in his interview coming up soon. But yeah, I kind of noticed that what he was saying. Just they looked a little pushy. All the cars didn't want to turn in the heat, especially. So yeah, just a little bit more bite, I thought, than they're a little used to. Track's been
Mm-hmm.
a little slicker, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's always good racing at Merrittville.
still was good racing right off the hop. Like there was, I think there was 10 cars under a blanket to start. I remember calling three wide, 2 rows deep, like in the first opening lap. So the Hoosier Stocks really put together a good show. And to just rewind just a touch, Darren Dryden, no wins on the tour as of yet, but he does have 4 top 5s in 6 feature events and is sitting third in the Action Sprint Tour standings as they're going.
Yeah.
Just to answer that one for anyone who was wondering. But the Hoosier Stocks, Bailey wins it over Pellrine, Pete Reed, Jason Fontaine, and Ken Sargent. That was your top 5 there. Some great runs, obviously, for Kyle Pellrine, who's been sitting second in points. So backs up with a second place finish here. Bailey, I'll quickly look at that points situation there. 137 points is the difference. That one is over. Bailey is track champion at Merrittville Speedway in the Hoosier Stocks. Pellrine sits second, Donnie Lampman third, Fontaine fourth, and Zach Bleach fifth. I don't think any change really there, although Fontaine and Zach Bleach are tied in points for fourth place right now as they run. So that's a good little battle inside the top 5 that will be decided on this final points weekend.
Yep, that's what you gotta do when the point number 1 point's locked up. Look for the battles in the top five, and those guys battling just as hard for the championship. All those guys want them spots just as much as the guy want the top spot. So, especially this is what you do. It gets in your head
Definitely.
to points racing. So, those guys are all thinking about it right now, even if
Yeah.
they say they're not.
Road and Dodge Mod Lights, another Brent Bigelow, Josh Slater classic battle. Slater actually got out in front of Brent late in that race before Brent was able to get back by him on the bottom side. Slater up high, Bigelow down low. Good little showdown again in the Mod Lights.
Yep, the two usual suspects again. Old Josh and his hired driver Brent. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Brent got. I can't. Yeah, that there's a good battle early between those two, and then Brent stretched it out, right? I think.
Yeah, and then even later, like I think Slater was able to get him. I think there was a restart with I want to say 6 laps to go or maybe 7 to go, and Slater actually got by him for about a lap, maybe a lap or two, and then I think Brentford got back by him with 3 laps to go, maybe. So, but again, a great great duel, and Brent's obviously won his fair share of features this year. But when I talked to him in victory lane this time, he was the first thing out of his mouth was just mentioning how good Josh Slater is, and uh, you can tell that Brent appreciates having Josh to push him not just as a car owner, as a friend, but as a friendly rival as well.
Yep. No doubt about it. Yeah, got to have somebody to battle with you. And Tyler Winger's been super fast this year as well. So those three have been definitely the fastest guys in the mod lights. And what's the points look like for them?
Uh, so turning our attention to them, Begalo is leading Slider by 24 points. Winger is 41 points back, and If Toddy is fourth with 63 points back. And Rob Meisner is your final driver inside the top five in points heading into the final weekend. 87 back of Brent Begalo. So still not exactly over. For some reason, Brent has issues. A Josh Slater win could definitely shake things up, or even somehow Begalo and Slater have issues. Tyler Winger's not out of this one necessarily yet either.
I'm thinking it's close to like a Bigelow takes. How many cars do they usually get? Like 16 ish?
16 to 18. Sometimes it's a little higher, but usually I'm pretty comfortable saying 18 to
So that
16 is the
could
average.
be roughly like, as long as he takes the green, he should be pretty close
Yeah,
for Brent.
right? Because
Yeah.
it's what 10 points back to between first and fourth, and then it's two back from there on out. So it'll
No.
be
Yeah, between first and fourth. Yeah.
yeah, and then 4 to 5 is two, and so on
Yeah.
and so forth. So it'll be tight. It will be
Yep.
tight. I'm not 100% sure that it's over necessarily, but
I'm going to say
uh,
a top 10 does. So a top 10 does do it.
top 10 would 100% do it, right? Brent's got to finish inside the top 10. So
Yeah.
as long as Brent, I just don't see Brent not finishing in the top 10 as long as he finishes. So uh, I guess it is pretty much Brent Bagalow finishes the race. He's going to be the champion.
Yep. Those other boys better start praying.
You're gonna need a lot of help, right? Just round out the top five there. Rob Meisner in third, Tyler Winger fourth, and Sean Iftati fifth. So lots of consistency. Got to shout out Cohen Corbett as well. He brought it home sixth. He's really from start to finish. Him and Ryan Anderson have both been really improved in the Mod Light series, and they're knocking on the door of top fives pretty regularly now. So that's good to see.
Yep. Young guns starting to get it figured out. So look out to the top two. Young bloods
Yep,
are coming.
Cohen's still racing karts too.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, Taking a look at the four cylinders, Kenny Hare at one of my local Niagara Falls guys gets it done. Finishes first in the 5K, wins it over Vincent Pagnotta, Tyler LaFontaine, Clinton Barrick, and Austin Worstrow. Pagnotta, I'm going to say, had a chance at him. There was definitely an incident there with lap traffic, maybe midway through, a little bit later in the race, where Pagnotta got a little slowed up after some contact with, I think it was the 77, if I'm not mistaken. Again, you can go back and watch it on GeForce TV. But Pagnotta ends up second. Maybe would have been able to mix it up there and get the win, but Kenny Hare instead wraps up win number 3 on the year in the 5K.
Yeah, no matter what. Awesome run for Pagnotta. Definitely see him up front, but you don't see him in second too much. So I'm sure they were still stoked about that finish, and awesome run for him. He used to be on the old Pete Bicknell crew back in the day. I'm pretty sure he still hangs around there with he's buddies with Rick Agnew as well, I think. I don't know. Yeah, I always see them guys hanging around. And yeah, I was pumped for Vincent. Finished second.
Yep. That was good to see. He's another one. There's been a couple drivers that have just, it feels like they're knocking on the door of those wins. Austin Worstrow, another guy. Pagnotta, another guy. Trevor DeBoer knocking on the door for some wins, but everybody chasing Tyler LaFontaine in points, and I would say it's almost all over but the crying. It's 58 points is the gap going into Saturday. So basically, if LaFontaine starts the race, that should be enough for him to wrap up the championship.
That will be enough.
Based on my
100%.
yeah, right? Because it's what 60 points is the most you can gain in a race, right? So as long as he gets starts, he's going to get 2 points at least. So.
Yep.
So LaFontaine leads DeBoer. Austin Worstrow sits third in points. Pagnotta sits fourth, and Clinton Barrick rounds out the top five there. looking at, we also got to talk about these sportsmen, even though they were off. That championship is over. Cody McPherson has it. Cody made some news this week. I don't know if you saw the number 7 is for sale.
Yeah, I did see that. I don't. I don't know if he's looking to buy a new one or what's going on there, but definitely don't think he's quitting. But I hope not.
Yeah, I think it was Nitro Man Kevin Miller that was commented on the status. Does that mean you're going to 358 racing, which would be pretty fun to see what Cody's got in a 358. But he is going to be track champion. He leads James Friesen 142 points, 156 back to Jay Mallory, 162 back to Justin Sharp, and Rob Knapp sitting third and 168 points back of Cody McPherson. So congrats to Cody. We'll see what the sportsmen have for one final feature this weekend on Seminux SO Night at Merrittville Speedway. And hopefully Cody gets to send that number 7 off on a winning note somewhere.
Yeah, he switches over to starts thinking about the Mr. Dirt Sportsman Tour. Is what he's going to do. He's won that
maybe
championship before, and I'm pretty sure he said on our episode, he's been so long ago, it feels like a year ago we interviewed him.
Basically was.
But yeah, he said it on the show. I think he still got that plan, so he's going to go try to chase the Mr. Dirt Sportsmanship.
That would be pretty cool to see him get that done. Gonna have the rain rescheduled the Pete Costco Memorial on Sunday, September 4th. So racing at Ohsweken, Merrittville, and Humberstone this weekend. And I'm hoping weather stays good. We get all 3 in this time. Are you racing on the 4th? Or I think you're. Am I flying solo here?
I actually decided to take this weekend off and try to recoup and come back next week at Merrittville. So yeah, I'll see you on Sunday.
Awesome. All right, it's gonna be fun to be back in the booth. And before we get to our guest Dave Bailey, I just wanted to wrap up our little segment here with some fan mail that we got. This comes from Rich Willis. He writes us via email, which you can send us email, southernontariodirtshow@gmail.com is the place to do that. Rich writes, love the show. You guys do a great job on it and announcing as well. I jumped the ditch to Merrittville and Humberstone, and it's great to review last week's results and hear from key people. Would enjoy hearing from Don Speece and Terry Vince if you could ever pin them down. That's from Rich. Well, I feel like we can get Don. I feel like I could pull enough strings. Don's a pretty quiet guy. He's a pretty low-key guy. I don't think he loves the limelight necessarily. I think he just wants to own the racetrack, give everybody a great place to race, and but maybe in the off season we can put together a little Speece family podcast. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, is he like talking about having them on at the same time? Because that would be insane. Not insane, but
he's trying to get them on at the same time.
Yeah,
I was gonna say if he's trying to get them on at the same time, that's never gonna happen.
No,
but I think it would be cool to talk to some track owners in the off season. Have Glenn on and some of the Ohsweken gang. I appreciate the email, and if we're having separate interviews, I think we can make that happen. But having everybody break bread might be a little bit more of a task than.
It'd be fun to have them on at the same time.
That would be fun.
Like I know Terry went on the Clinton show before. I always think of it. What do they call their show? I always watch it.
Racing Rivals.
Racing Rivals. I always think G-Force TV. Yeah, Racing Rivals. Yeah, I'm always listening to that when I can. Then Terry went on there. I already stated a lot of his stuff from a couple. I think it was last year he went on, so he can already hear his side of the story over there. But maybe we could get them both at once. You never know. I know them both, so we both know them both.
You never know. We'll see.
Yeah,
I was gonna say Travis can start pulling some strings, so I can start pulling some strings. We'll see what can happen. But either way, appreciate the support, Rich. Appreciate anybody who reaches out to the show again. At SODS _ pod on Instagram and Twitter is the place to find us there. Southern Ontario Dirt Show on Facebook, and of course Southern Ontario Dirt Show @gmail.com is the place to send all your email, fan mail, complaints, whatever. If it's a complaint, we might not even answer it, but What I guess it would be fun. It'd be fun if we had like a hater bag every once in a while, but
I don't think we'll get much of that.
It'd be fun if we had like a complaint department for race fans. Like the girl who screamed at you in Victory Lane, she could email us a complaint about whatever she wanted to yell about. I guess it was
Hmm.
Was that Bailey winning? I think that she was mad about.
Yeah. Dang, I just forgot we forgot to talk about that. I didn't want to talk about that anyway. So,
Yeah. With
but anyway.
speaking of which, that means it's time to get to Dave Bailey on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show. Hey, do you like what you're hearing? Want to support the Southern Ontario Dirt Show and help us expand our coverage across the province and Western New York? Well, your ad could be playing right here. Got a brand or business that deserves more attention? Email us, southernontariodirtshow@gmail.com to become a sponsor of the podcast. And now, let's get back to the show. And we're back on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show, joined by our guest tonight, Dave Bailey. Dave, how is it going?
It's going good. Good to be on with you guys.
Great to have you coming off a couple wins locally here at Merrittville, and talk to us about the drive on Saturday night. We're getting that done in what was, I don't. You're one of the people who I think complains about the racetrack the absolute least amount of anybody. But this is the first time I think I actually heard you get out of the car and be kind of like, I don't even want to say you were miffed. You were just like whatever about the racetrack compared to how you're normally the first person to say the track was great.
Yeah, it was weird because I don't know, the sprint cars were there, but they didn't do like, I don't know that they did anything really different, but just seemed like our cars, like the whole group of us, you go into the corner and the rear end would stick and the front end wouldn't, and we all just looked silly and nobody's car turned. Um, then you just had to like back it up, and then feature was kind of similar.
Yeah, I watched the video. It definitely looked a little tackier than normal, even with the sprint cars there. Still looked like a little bit even a slop on the bottom and definitely had some bite in the feature. Is that what you'd say?
Yeah, you had to just slow it down and stick it right against the rail because if you didn't, you'd turn in the corner and it wouldn't turn. Like if you look, everybody goes in the first corner on the first lap, and kind of everybody just went straight. Then you just got to back it up and make it hook the bottom and go.
10-4.
So, what, in your opinion, from the driver's seat, what do you think makes the best racing for the Hoosier Stock guys? Because I feel like all year long we've had maybe some of the best racing we've ever seen from the Hoosier Stocks at Maryville. The level of competition has been great, the tracks have been great, but what makes the surface optimal for at least your series?
Well, I need to slow down, just but not too much because once it slows down too much, then the only thing left for us is the bottom because it's too long around the top. But when it's super fast and hammer down, like when we're in the 18 seconds, it's not really good racing. But if you're low 19s, then that's where the good racing's at.
All right, Dave, you're definitely no stranger to running all three tracks. Definitely no shortage of racing in your arsenal. I think, did you win this Friday? Probably. And usually win all three tracks. Just tell us what it takes to be so competitive at all three.
You just, I don't know, just got to babysit your car and make sure nothing falls off. And you can't win if you don't finish. So you just got to have a pretty decent maintenance program. And then just because I race 3 nights a week, I get opportunities a week to try stuff. And most people don't. If like you get your 2 hot laps in the mud and a slop, and then you get your 8 lap heat race and your 20 lap feature, and then you wait a week to try something new.
So, what would you say is like the of the three between Ohsweken, Maryville, Humberstone? Which track is the most challenging, and which track do you look forward to going to the most?
Well, obviously, I look forward to Friday nights. It's pretty good. It's back to the days when it used to be me and Denning running every week, and now it's me and Beagle running every week. Like that's just fun when you have a guy that every week is going to be there challenging you side by side, and just you can race him good. As far as most challenging goes, I always have trouble with Humberstone. Like I just can't. When it slows down and starts turning blue, we're good. But when it's like one groove and grippy right around the bottom, for whatever reason, I can make that work at Ohsweken, I can make that work at Merrittville. But you go to Humberstone and it's not the same.
All right, Dave. When I first started, when I was running sprint cars, like the first time back in the early 2000s, you were still in the mini stock. And I think you're running Flamborough mostly. I'm not really sure. I know mostly your Hoosier stock career, but why don't you fill us in on like the mini stock days and all, maybe like even where you got your racing bug?
Well, the racing bug was from my family and my uncle's cousin Randy Slack. So we were basically around the racetrack when I was young for I don't know until he quit racing, and then my dad was a track photographer, so we got to follow him around, and we followed the Can-Am Midget Club. We were with those guys forever, and then we built a mini stock when Ohsweken opened the first time when they ran on Sundays, but that thing got yard sailed, I don't know, 3 4 weeks into the year. So then I never had a car for that anymore. And I helped Hunsinger for a while on a sportsman stuff, and then like 2003 or 2002, something like that, we built the Mustang mini stock and ran that thing at Flamborough. And then a little while into that program, we started running Fridays at Ohsweken and then Saturdays at Flamborough and then Sundays wherever.
So that transition between driving the Mustang and then driving into street stock, and did you find that that transition to be pretty easy? Because if I'm not mistaken, the Mustangs were a real wheel drive, correct?
Yeah, it is. We had that Mustang, and then I got rid of the Mustang. We built a Nissan too, and I ran the Nissan, did the same thing, ran Fridays and Saturdays, and then somewhere along the line, I started driving a metric car that was owned by Mike Bell at Ohsweken on Fridays, and I was just saving my mini stock for the pavement stuff. But yeah, the first time I ran my Mustang at Flamborough or at Ohsweken, it was on I think it was Canada Day, and Flamborough used to run the day of the special. So I ran at Flamborough in the afternoon, and then I ran at Ohsweken at night, and I got lapped in my heat race. And then in the consi, I started at the back and then followed people who knew what they were doing, and we got in, and I ended up finishing sixth in the feature that day.
Wow, that's impressive. Just to make it to two tracks in one day is impressive. That's a pretty hard feat to do. I feel like these days.
We did that a couple times from Flamborough to Humberstone. Once was for the All Canadians, and we did it. I don't know, maybe a rain out day too. We knew it looked like it was going to rain, so when we went to Flamborough before we got rained out, we made sure we took all the dirt stuff with us, and then got rained out. I guess that must have been Merrittville, and then booked her from Flamborough to Merrittville to go run there.
Hmm. Unreal.
All right, so safe to say you're a little bit more dominant in the street stock. What do you think makes you a little bit more dominant in the street stock? Like you still had championships at Flamborough and stuff, but I'd say on the dirt world, you're definitely more dominant in the Thunder stock. Would you agree on that? And tell us why.
Well, when the mini stock days, like there was guys that had, well, like everybody had similar stuff, I guess, but like we always just had junkyard motors and whatever, so there was never, it was all getting through the ends. And now with the crate motor, like Travis knows my uncle and he's an engine builder, but I never had any interest in any of that stuff. Like I would just buy them and put them in and then work on the rest of the car. So now that everybody has the same motor, the car makes a difference. And just I've been around. I'm old. I've been around. Got lots of experience, so that helps out with making changes. And I've run it 3 nights a week, so you kind of got a feel, and you kind of can hopefully get a good guess of what the car needs just by the feel in your ass, and just make changes from there.
The old ass feel.
Something you don't have a ton of an experience in yet, but yeah, I crossed off the bucket list this summer was driving in the NASCAR Pinty series and driving on dirt at Ohsweken in the Pinty's 100. Talk to us about that experience and what you maybe learned from that, and did you catch the bug to maybe want to do some more Pinty's racing down the road?
Um, I think we definitely want another shot at that. It was a fun experience all around. Just we kind of put our heads together and thought what we knew what we wanted to do, and then it turns out that we just ended up going backwards the whole weekend or whatever the whole time we were there. And as we went backwards, we got to a better place. So knowing what we know now, I'd love to do it again, but obviously there's a large cost to that. And I'm happy I got to do it once. We were part of the first one, and if I don't do it again, then whatever, I don't do it again. But um, yeah, we'd like another shot at it.
Bob told me like the cast car setups almost worked better than like you guys were trying more of a little dirt setup or something like that. Is that kind of what happened? Like the other guys were just kind of running a short track kind of deal. And what do you think happened there?
Well, yeah, yeah, my Thunder car here, like I ran in 14, I ran back and forth between Ohsweken on Friday and Flamborough on Saturday. I guess that was, yeah, in 14 it was. And all I did was unhook the sway bar and change the windshield, and like they were allowed control arms and whatever, but it's the same springs and shocks as when I ran at Flamborough in 2014. Like it's still what we're doing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's because I started out on pavement and I just don't like things sideways and I want it to be a little bit snug, whereas Bob wanted it to be a dirt car sideways and there's just not enough grip to make that happen.
Yeah, tires. Doing burnouts in the pits and stuff.
Yeah, we were trying. They got
Yeah.
Tires were a big part of that. That was the whole story. I think most of the event.
yeah, just driving the car. It I guess it kind of felt similar, but it has like half the grip and twice the motor, so it was a struggle. Like it was fun struggling, but it was it was a struggle. Like just not like that car, just everybody was struggling because you can't find grip and like it doesn't want to stop, it doesn't want to turn, like it just doesn't want to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny.
But
It's just a rolling
Yeah.
brick.
Yeah. Last week, Jake Sheridan, we were talking to him, and he said like he thought the tires brought the driver out or whatever, but he didn't want to sipe tires. I think they should, or get a softer tire.
well, since we know what we're doing, I'd love to type tires because there's probably an advantage there. But like that advantage ain't gonna last long because
Yeah.
those guys they'll all figure it out also. But yeah, like it was fun. Like unfortunately, I think that that race was better than most people thought, and I can't see NASCAR wanting to change the tire because it did end up with a good show, and everybody thought that it could have been it could have been a disaster, and it wasn't. So I'm not sure how you're going to convince NASCAR to make any changes.
Yeah, true. It did turn out a good finish.
And that's all anybody cares about. They just show the last two.
Yeah.
Yeah, it ended up being a great event, and I thought you held your own really, really well. Again, I think that restarting on that last restart on the bottom line, nobody was moving all night long from that inside position. If you were on the inside of the first row or maybe even the second row, you were going backwards, right? So it was tough from that standpoint. But in terms of the NASCAR Pinty series and you having both experience on both dirt and on asphalt, do you think uh, realistically in a full-time ride, how do you think that you could stack up against those guys, especially with the amount of street courses and road courses that they run?
There's no way I could pull off a road course. That's just. I race go karts on road courses, but you didn't have to shift them or not. Like that was just whatever. Those guys, obviously, like there's guys that ran Indy cars and won Indy car races. There's guys that won truck races, and like those guys just have so much experience. And that series is might not be everybody's favorite series, but the guys in that series, they're really good racers. Well, most of them are really good racers. Like it's good luck. Like those guys are just good.
I still think be open for like a ninth through last. Like I think like there's like 8 or so people that are really good on the road courses if you really get down to it, and then the rest of them are just kind of out there with a hope and a prayer. Like my buddy Larry Jackson, he's no road course racer, and he finished 8th at iCar, so it's possible.
Yeah, it's just a tough go when there's half of that. Like it's cool that there is road courses as a fan, but as a driver, like someone trying to come from short track oval racing and going racing with those guys, I think they just hopefully that those guys like Lapsevich and they're just using it as a their place to get their name out there, and they go further with a maybe a more oval series later on in the future.
Yeah.
Definitely. So wrapping up another little track championship unofficially again. Nothing's for sure until everything's actually handed out here. But track championship at Merrittville. Just talk to us about another amazing season and what do you have left on the bucket list that you want to try to achieve in the Thunder Stocks or in the Street Stocks?
I don't know that I really have any goals. Just I just want to go and drive around in circles, have fun. Um, Obviously, you go and you try and win every week, but that's not always possible. But there's always guys that are out there that just unfortunate luck. Fawcett missed a couple races this year, and Murray had, I guess he blew up at the start and then he wrecked his car at the end. So, and then Pete Reed showed up last week and like he ran good. So there's guys that are out there that aren't running full time that if they'd come around more often, I think we wouldn't have as many wins as we have. But I guess I really can't do anything about that. But when they're there, it's always fun.
The one thing I noticed a couple weeks ago when it was the Brock Leonard Memorial, your name wasn't on the win list. So could you say you would probably want to win that one? I guess pays 2 G's, doesn't it? I couldn't believe you weren't on there already.
Yeah, no, I've never had any luck in any of those big races. This year we finally won a 50 lap. Maybe we won two now, but we won that the Gales Cash Blast this year. But those 50 lappers, just it always seems like there's a lane around the top, and like Ramsey, he's so good at just getting up there and then ripping it, and that's just kind of not my style. Just I'd rather rip it up there, just not when there's a cushion, when it's slowed down a little bit, and gotta gotta finesse it. I don't really like chucking it in like that. Just I don't know if that's the asphalt racer in me that just like there's no way I can ever drive into a corner and not hit the brakes. And I think that there's a whole bunch of guys that we race against that only lift or whatever, like they don't even touch brakes, and I just can't do it. And when the guys like that are really good at doing that come around, they got our number. But if it's slick and slows down, then we're normally pretty good at it. So I don't know. Just Beagle makes sure that I know that I haven't won that Brock Leonard race.
Yeah, bet he would. He's won it. It's got you on that one.
Yeah, yeah, he does.
Awesome. Well, you've covered a lot. We've gotten into some of the background. We've gotten into some of the stuff you've driven this year, the races you've won. Uh, if I could give you one racetrack and one race car to drive for the rest of your life, what's the combination that you would pick? Any car, any track.
Um, well, I'm not very picky. Um, one race car the rest of my life, one racetrack. I'd probably just like park a tent or a trailer at Varney and run mini stocks at Varney for the rest of my life because that place is so much fun. Whether it's a good race car or even a mini stock, that place is just a blast to run around.
I like it. That's like the one track in Ontario I've never been to is Marnie. Full Throttle Motor Speedway now or something.
Oh, it's so awesome. It probably hasn't been paved in 30 or 40 years. And like there's grooves in the asphalt from where cars have wrecked and drug stuff. And there's like no grip. Even in a mini stock, it's like you got to hustle that thing. Like you end up winded running a mini stock around that place. And it was always just so much fun. It's like a little redneck place, like on some little town. It was just so much fun.
Awesome. Another one on the bucket list.
I love it. Okay, last question for me. Why'd you pick the Brewster Baker paint scheme?
Because asphalt racing is silly and you can't have two cars with the same number. So I ran number 31 forever from my uncle Randy. And when I went to move up, there was already a 31. So we figured if I had a Camaro and had to change my number, might as well do that. And then now we've kind of had it so long that
Uh-huh.
I can't really do nothing else.
Yep. I was just wondered why you pulled that because I remember the 31 on the mini stock, and then you had your mini stock out on Friday too with Jesse McDonald in it,
Yeah, that mini stock, me and my son built that.
which is 31 as well.
Yeah, me and my son built that at the start of COVID, I guess, the start of 2020. And Trevor's drove it for a while, and now Jesse's drove it. And my son's 11. I don't know how old you got to be to run one, but if my friends don't kill that thing before he gets old enough to run it, that'll be his.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Well, actually, you know what? Travis's question inspired one more question from me, so I got to get. We'll end it off on this one. All right, you've got this iconic '49 Brewster Baker ride. If you had to switch to one other iconic looking ride, whether it's a black number 3, a rainbow 24, any color scheme, any livery from anywhere in the racing world, what would you pick?
I'd probably the Hanley 72.
Nice,
I love it.
that's a good pick.
That's Canadian iconic. Yep, I love it. A lot of dirt guys don't know who Journey Hanley is. It blows me away, like a lot. Ohsweken he's known a little more, but like
Yeah,
a lot of Merrittville people don't know him. Some do.
well, and he's still around. Like if you go to
Yeah,
Flamborough on a Saturday night, he'll still be walking pits, or you go to an APC race or whatever, or you stop in at Grisdale's, whatever, he'll be there and hang out, and he'll just shoot the show with you for who knows how long. Like he's always around, always involved, and I think he's been helping out Lapsovich a little bit, and he was with
yeah,
Nagy's, I think, for a bit. He's always there helping somebody.
yep,
Awesome.
And I
definitely.
was talking before we started recording to Jonathon about Cuba Speedway and how most people any younger than me don't even remember back in the day when like guys like him were so dominant. And when the ASA cars came up and he could run with those guys, like just I don't know, he's an icon around here.
Yeah, to the max. He's definitely one of my first heroes as well. And yeah, I wasn't around those days that you're talking about, but I'm jealous that I wasn't. That's for sure. And my dad's shop was right next door to Junior Hanley shop back in the day. And I'm a little mad at my parents for not having me a little earlier because I missed out on all the good stuff. But yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, we got to see all those races like Kugan. Like it was just so awesome that they had that stuff. And back then, when the big show came to town, when ASA came to town, you could take your local late model and run with those guys. It's kind of like when the World of Outlaws come around now. You could take your 360 sprint car and go run with the Outlaws. But now there's nothing on the pavement side. Big show comes to town, you can't do nothing.
Yep. I know. I hate that too. Ooh, and I miss the Outlaws. Oh, man. He's made me all sentimental now. Yeah.
Putting Travis in his feels now. I like this. This is funny. All right. Well, thanks for taking the time tonight, Dave. It's been awesome. One more race weekend at Merrittville and a few more down the schedule at Humberstone as well, and I think a couple more for you guys at Ohsweken too. So we'll hopefully be chatting with you on the front stretch here someplace sometime soon. And congratulations on all the success in 2022, the Pinty start, and hopefully there's more to come and more achievements down the road.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dave.
Cheers. Awesome. Dave Bailey on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show.
And the checkered is out on another episode of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe for future episodes. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Southern Ontario Dirt Show. Have a question for the show? Email us, southernontariodirtshow@gmail.com. Thanks for supporting local racing in Southern Ontario, and we'll see you at the track.